What's up, guys? Happy Monday. It's showdown breakdown time. We got a big one tonight. Panthers at the 49ers. Fun. A lot of good players. A lot of names we're excited to play in this one. Should be a lot of fun. We know the 49ers going to do some offensing in this one, which is a good thing. And we're coming off Bobbywow, another spectacular weekend. It was a weekend where a lot of the players we were on absolutely smashed. And a lot of the fades that we pushed over the, and this is, I'm more proud of this. I'm more proud of this. A lot of the fades failed.
Yes.
All right. Drake May, chalk quarterback. I said, I'm not touching that. Fail.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson, wasn't touching that. Don't touch this one. Fail. Chase Brown, I said, this is not a GPP. This is not a tournament play. You could use them in cash if you need to. Do not touch this in tournaments. Fail.
Yeah.
And let me show you. This is so huge. Look at this. All right. New member, Rob, joins DFS Army last week. Uses the domination. He's got $18 in his account. Takes the domination station and proceeds to win 6 pocket minis. These are like winning massive GPPs, but for people without a lot of money in their account. And that's the beauty of really what we're doing here at DFS Army. He won everything. I didn't win shit because Rob took all the fucking money. Rob comes in. He says, first week using DFS Army tools, took down 6 pocket minis. Awesome product and info. Haven't had the chance to change my DK. Whatever. Congrats to Rob.
That's one of the most impressive screenshots I've ever seen. That's remarkable stuff.
I mean, come on, bro. All of that. I've only got 4 of these. I've got 6 in one slate.
Wow.
Are you kidding me, guys? And that's what happens. The core play of Jahmyr Gibbs. The core play of Michael Wilson again. Loading up on Trey McBride. The core play on Rashee Rice. Core. Emmanuel Wilson, I begged you guys to play him in every fucking lineup that you made this week. Those who listened did profitably. So congrats to all the winners. And to those who are not part of the crew, we are now officially launching our Black Friday, early Black Friday special. You want to get in there. You want to be a part of DFS Army. Code BF2025. This is the biggest discount we've ever done and what we ever do, Bobbywow. It's valid this week. BF 2025. It takes 25% off in celebration of 2025 for new members. So if you've been thinking about it, if you've been hanging around, you're kind of, I'm thinking about it. BF 2025. Now's the shot to get in here and get signed up. We got the biggest week of DFS Army might be this week. The Thursday slate is mind-blowing. There's a Friday game.
Yes, there is.
Special tournament tactics coming at you on Wednesday morning to cover the 3-gamer. The whole crew will be back together, so make sure you guys are around for that as well. Probably at noon on Wednesday. We're going live. Had too much Jamo Williams soups. Probably should have kept him to golf lineups, but if you had Jameis Winston, you won all the monies.
That's E1, that's a W.
Yep, there he is. There he is. All right, let's get into it. We got a Monday nighter, Bobbywow, and a fun one.
It could not be worse than last night. So yeah, I need it. I need it to be here now.
Dude, that wasn't even that bad. It was just like a little crazy how it all went down. It was a pretty good game. Actually,
it was horrible.
Wait.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Teddy Bridgewater looked atrocious. I don't know. It's just a bad game. It was over in the first quarter, and then just terrible.
Yeah. I'll give you that. It wasn't that good. But that's been the Island games. I think we might see that here again. So if the Island games continue to go as they have, so let's just start there. The Panthers take an ass whooping, and it's a 49ers onslaught situation.
Yeah.
That's been how these island games are going. So let's kind of take a look at what we can figure out here. Let's go to matchups first. Big week last week for the Panthers. So we're going to get some good information out of them. As far as the 49ers go, Christian McCaffrey continues to see the absolute bulk of the running back work. They're mixing in Brian Robinson a little bit, and I think blowout run might go to Brian Robinson in a game like tonight if that blowout run happens. So I don't think we can ignore him, but it's been the Christian McCaffrey show all season with this team.
Yep.
George Kittle with Brock Purdy in there has been really good, and it's continued. 23% target share. He's getting all the tight end snaps. I don't think we need to worry too much about turds from the 49ers side of it. They're not really a very turd kind of team.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, they don't just involve turds. They really involve their main guys almost exclusively. And I think the closest thing to a turd would be Brian Robinson in kind of blowout run.
Yeah, use check is the other turd that you could think about. But yeah, that's pretty much how the 49ers operate. The primary guys get all the run.
Yeah. Now, at wide receiver, Ricky Pearsall made his return last week. And this is very, very important because in understanding how things went, Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings effectively man the wide receiver spots for this team almost exclusively. They worked in a little bit of Demarcus Robinson, a little bit of Kendrick Bourne in there, but very minimal. It looks like Demarcus Robinson is officially ahead of Kendrick Bourne, so Bourne can mostly be forgotten about now that the team has gotten healthy at wide receiver.
Yep. Bourne kind of the odd man out here.
Bourne is forlorn. I don't know what that word means. I genuinely don't. I just said it. All right. Moving on to the Panthers side of things. Big week for the Panthers last week. Like, they went bananas. But, the running back splits remain the same. It's the Rico Dowdle show, and everybody else is just here to keep an eye on things. Chuba working his way in just a smidge as a backup at this point. They are going full Rico. 82% snap count for Rico last week. It was down to just 18%. Although Hubbard did get a Tarjay in there.
Yeah.
Got a Tarjay. At the tight end position, it's pretty much disgusting for the Panthers here with Jatavion Sanders and Tommy Tremble just kind of being shitty out there, and Mike Mitchell Evans also being pretty shitty. So
it's Sanders is probably the guy you're going to want to target if any of these guys here. I know he is not seeing as many snaps as Tremble, but he's been more of the consistent target share. But yeah, it's really gross.
Yeah, not fun. Not a good scene there, but it's made up for a little bit, I guess. Let's call it with the wide receiver group. Tet McMillan continues to get the WR1 treatment for this team. With Coker percolating a little bit, Coker is on the upswing.
He is on the upswing. He's one of the more intriguing plays on the slate.
Yeah, we'll have to see where his salary is. And then Xavier Legette got really worked into things last week as well. So can't ignore any of this trio. Can't ignore the trio. And then looks like there's another name down here, Bryson Tremaine, who somehow got in the game last week and got a target or two as well. But, I'm not going to worry about, the underdog number 4 turd wide receiver on a slate like this either. That is not going to lead to very much goodness. So, yeah, with that, let's jump over to the domination station, take a look at some of these ownerships, and see what we can try to get figured out. Yeah, well, Tebow time, you just figured out the entirety of Xavier Legette. You will never play him when it's worth playing him. You're only going to be on him. He's a best ball guy, right? Like, we don't want to fucks with him when we don't need to. All right, let's take a look at the captain group and see what we get figured out here. And this is kind of interesting. Okay. Brian Robinson Jr. Yeah, right. All right. So, yeah, do we think that Bryce Young can follow up his big game last week with another Bobbywow? Can Bryce Young follow up his really explosive game last week with another on the road, West Coast? Can he do it again?
I don't think we can necessarily expect a similar type of explosion, but I think Bryce Young is proving that he has some potential still at the end of the day. And this 49ers defense is not as elite as they've been in the past. This is a defense that has some vulnerabilities pretty much across the board. And so do I think Bryce Young could perform well? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a question of will we get this competitive matchup that we haven't been seeing much of on these island games? Or, is it going to go revert back to what we've seen, which is a dominant performance by San Francisco 49ers defense against a not that good offensive team in the Panthers? The real version shows up and, you get that sort of what you would almost expect here, which is, a 49ers kind of dominant game and the Panthers kind of looking like shit with maybe some garbage time points going to some of these guys.
Yeah, I don't know whether this makes it better or worse for the Panthers, but it's really interesting with the Bucs loss last night. If the Panthers win this game, they're in first place.
That's that's why they can't win it. This is not a team that should ever.
So you see that as a bad thing.
Yeah, they should not be able to sniff first place. That's no.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, agreed. It's shocking and but it's also just kind of cool. So Bryce Young, if anything, it feels like he's kind of in the nothing to lose mode right now, which I think is a good thing for him and for fantasy football. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I do think he could play well here.
Really interesting captain ownership projections right now. McCaffrey coming in at 30%. Sure.
He's not he is the most clear and obvious far and away. Really, no matter where you look, he's checking the box.
Yeah.
His prop projection is absurdly high relative to everyone else's.
Yeah, the value is there, the rating is there, the prop projection is crazy. It's massively higher than everybody else. Absolutely.
It's 10 points higher.
Yeah, it's not. Let's look in the flex. Like if you actually look at that number, yeah, McCaffrey, who's priced a little bit above Brock Purdy, but his projection is 20%, 25% higher than his. Yeah, actually on a relative basis, it's actually the same. On a points per dollar basis, it's actually the same. They're both sitting in at about a 2.1. So actually, let me go to props. Let's see what that shows at now. Yeah, no, McCaffrey is significant. Yeah, so there we go. That's how McCaffrey is significantly better. Use check is his favorite turd. All right, so let's talk about captaincy here. Of course, Christian McCaffrey is going to be somebody that's going to be the chalk. And if you're looking to build the chalkiest possible approach, yeah, you're going to use Christian McCaffrey, right? So I think we're all going to make a combined agreement that Christian McCaffrey is a really good play as both a captain and a flex and just a play in this game.
Yep.
Okay, we all agree on that. So let's see, what about something else? What if it's not McCaffrey? How does this thing go down? So first of all, I don't know, Bobbywow, I'm not down with, I know I say this a lot, but I'm not really down with Brock Purdy as a captain per se. He can't spread the football around. He could get there, but it's a combination of being very expensive. And it's like if he's getting there, he's not doing it via the run.
Yeah. That's part of the problem. We're not going to see him run a lot here at all. I think that would be kind of like the edge. That's always the edge. Does the quarterback have some rushing upside? Is there some mobility there? If not, it's really tough to make a case for them at captain. And
Sips makes a point, like he has run for a touchdown or two in his career or QB sneak for a touchdown. It could definitely happen, but it's not something that I want to that I think is a 15% likelihood of happening. So
no, especially coming off the turf toe, right? Like that. Yeah. That is a mobility crushing injury.
Yeah,
and it doesn't just go away.
No, I don't think it's the best spot. Again, everybody do what you got to do, but if that's the second highest owned captain, I'm hesitant to want to do that at all. Like that to me is let somebody else do it. You got Rico Dowdle in there, Tet McMillan off a good game, and then some of the pieces from the pass catchers of the 49ers with Jennings, Kittle. Kittle is a little more expensive than Jennings, and then we got Ricky Pearsall down probably, maybe even lower than I'd like to see him. The rest of this is an unfriend you situation. We're just going to uncheck all of these guys in our captain spot. Don't want. Xavier Legette, 0.36% captain. There you go. Maybe it's Legette. How crazy can we get at captain, Bobbywow?
Yeah, you could get a little crazy. I mean, this is a slate that's going to require a little bit of crazy, it feels like, just because you've got your McCaffrey up top, kind of like the obvious play. But then from there, to me, it's tough. Like there could be several options here, especially as you get into some of these like salary, like Ricky Pearsall, for example. He's really, really cheap, and I know he's coming back, kind of coming back from injury here, still getting his feet wet, but he's a guy that we could see end up as a top scorer. Could we not? At 11.4, looks like he's 2% owned. So I don't know if that's crazy or not, but certainly in play.
Here's how that goes down. You ready? He doesn't need to have the highest score at that price, right? Exactly. So Ricky Pearsall just gets a touchdown and has a nice day. Think of Wandale yesterday, like has a great day. He did a little bit, got a big touchdown, and all of a sudden, with Pearsall, McCaffrey still gets in there, but only gets a 25, outscores him, but you couldn't really afford the combination if you had McCaffrey at captain. That's how that can maybe play out. And I could see a real possibility in this game, like very legitimate, that it's not McCaffrey isn't the highest scoring guy on the entire slate. Like there's a version of this game that plays out that way if they throw it a little more.
Yeah, agreed.
With that being said, of course, McCaffrey is the clear-cut most obvious play.
By salary real quick?
What's that?
Can you sort by salary super fast?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious.
Like Dowdle's had big games. I could go. I'm going to have some Dowdle.
Yeah, Dowdle fine. I like Kittle a lot. Jennings even. Juwan Jennings. I mean,
yeah,
he's going to be a little chalkier than Pearsall, but he's cheaper, it looks like.
Weirdly, he should be priced above Pearsall, but he's below. That's weird. He has a significantly better prop projection. Should be priced above. And of course, George Kittle. We've seen George Kittle put up 25 points many times. Yeah, you got to have some Kittle. 5%. I love the leverage that can be had there. B-Rob will not be in my captain pool probably, but I think he's somebody that you can play in the flex.
I even think if you want to get extra crazy, maybe the craziest I would say is like a Jalen Coker at captain. If you're playing 150 lineups,
I pulled him.
I know you did.
Too crazy.
But think about it, right? In a game where the 49ers are in control without a good defense, like this, in terms of like passing yards allowed per game, they rank toward the bottom of the league. This is not a good defense. No. Bryce Young kind of in like, they're getting smoked, but in chase mode, just completing passes to guys, soft coverage. I could see something like that happen. So that's kind of like the craziest I would go.
That would be wild. Coker, because he's just not that big play guy, but you never know. I think Legette, you can make the same argument for Legette, who, as crapola as this guy has been throughout his career, got involved. If CMC isn't captain, do you fade in the flex? No. CMC is going to get his.
Barring an injury, I would say CMC is like a 95% chance he scores well enough to be in the optimal lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, again, things happen, weird things happen, games go weird sometimes, and you know we saw it yesterday. How about the Patriots giving like Trev Henderson, I don't know, 10 goal line carries, and nothing went through, and then they just throw it to Hunter Henry instead, and then the game just went that way, and it was like, oh, Hunter Henry went crazy in this one. Weird shit happens. Sometimes guys get blocked.
Yeah, just the pass catching. He's basically the WR1.
Yeah.
On top of the RB1.
Yeah, it's hard for him not to get there.
But it's possible.
Yeah. But no, I'm not fading McCaffrey in non-McCaffrey captain lineups because McCaffrey can get a 20, not be the captain, but still certainly be one of the players you need in your lineup in order to win.
Yep.
Yeah, that's mostly it. So I would say, you know, yeah, sure. McCaffrey, we all agree, best on paper play, best projection, best potential captain, with the caveat that he's the most expensive by a lot. That's the one thing working for us in not using McCaffrey as captain. He is multiple thousands above the next. And then from there, my list would be Kittle, Jennings, and Pearsall.
It's a little Dowdle.
Yeah, some Dowdle and some Tet just for shits and gigs. And maybe if I wanted to get extra stupid, I'll throw a Xavier Legette one in there just for brand, just for the brand or something. You know what I mean?
There you go.
One or two. That's it. Done.
For the brand.
Bryce Young, not going to be there for me. Brock Purdy, not going to be in my group for me. And yeah, as send here says, Rico Doodle could get there if he goes into beast mode again. If he goes into beast mode again, like he's been doing.
And he's been doing it against good defenses too. He smoked some bad teams, but he's also put up some big numbers against some really good run defenses. So yeah, he could definitely get it done.
I am served, my guy. We'll get to FanDuel in a minute. But yes, we're going to cover that, but we're going to cover it second. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to cover it in a minute. All right. Let's jump over to the flex positions here. And we'll talk. Let's just kind of look at some turd ownership and see if anybody kind of pops out for us here. You got a lot of garbage down here. Jimmy Horn, Bryson Tremaine, who we saw did get worked into the game a little bit. You got some 49ers turds here. You know, Juszczyk always gets probably too much ownership compared to like what he actually does in these. Juszczyk is usually good for one reception.
Yeah, he does get more ownership, but at the same time, this is a weird slate where the turds are truly turdly, and you know, like 3 points from Juszczyk could almost be enough to get it done, depending on how the slate shakes out here. But it's so nasty, man. Yeah, two targets a week for the last 4 weeks.
At 1,400, you know, every once in a while, one of those will go for a touchdown. And then you get like a 7. Jimmy Crack Horn could pop for a big play.
He could.
Anything can happen.
Ja'Tavion Sanders is probably the best value, as gross as it sounds.
It's kind of what I wanted to find. So yeah, who's our top turd pay down? You think it's Ja'Tavion?
Ja'Tavion's 28. I think he's the top turd under 3K.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give Demarcus Robinson credit for being on the field a lot.
Yeah, prop projection is gross for DMark, but he's definitely someone you'll want some exposure to as well. He's the non-chalky potential value.
Yeah, and then you got to move your way up in salary a little bit to get to the next guy. Here at 4K, you got the Coker.
Jesus, he is so chalky.
That's a lot of ownership on Coker. I think that's fine though. 4K is underpriced for Coker. This is where I can get
that's kind of what I was talking about, a dart throw at captain. Because then you could fit Purdy, CMC, Kittle. But yeah, I think he's fine value.
It works because it's an underpriced play. And hey, Coker gets a touchdown, get like a 16 at that price. That could get there too.
Yep.
After Coker, yeah, Leggett here, 6,400. Okay. But, these other guys, we have a hearty mid-salary range here. Pearsall, Jennings, Leggett. Jennings projects better than Pearsall, yet Pearsall is more expensive than Jennings. So, of course, I have some side love for Pearsall, because he's somebody that I've been on for the last couple of years, and I'm waiting for it to break out for real. He's also helped me win a couple tournaments.
Yeah, it's just the perfect tournament pivot, right? Like, I think Jennings is a great play across the board. If I'm picking a guy in cash, it's Jennings. But Pearsall, he's only $600 more, could easily outscore Jennings too. We've seen it before. So
and lower owned. Yeah.
Yep.
George Kittle comes into play as well. Usually George Kittle requires it's harder to throw to the wide receivers or some other outside circumstance. I don't know if we're going to have to worry about that here.
Kittle's always in play with Purdy at the end of the day.
Yeah. As far as defenses, the only defense that I would be interested in here are the 49ers, other than some GPP craziness on the Panthers. Panthers defense is just not that good. Now they're on the road. Underdogs, that's not a good setup for a defense. 49ers D, though, yeah, definitely. You got to play these home defenses in these island games.
And let's not forget the kickers, too. Island games have a tendency to be a little messy, and that usually means good news for the kickers. So some maybe unrecognizable names here, but they're both in play.
Island games, not to be confused with the Island Boys. Two different things. Those guys are just trying to make it. It's the Island Boys.
Fantastic.
They're just trying to make it. All right. Let's go to... I can't believe people got that reference. That's even crazier, the fact that anybody got that. All right. Not to be confused with the Island Boys.
That's really
all right. Let's see if we could put a lineup together.
I'll just say this, too, as you're kind of building a lineup. The one guy that's being forgotten about is Teteroa McMillan. And I can understand it, right? Like, he's expensive for a Panthers player, but he's a good football player. He's a legit wide receiver, and this guy has pop potential. So he's going to be the forgotten guy in that salary range. People are going to want to stuff, CMC, Purdy, those guys in, but let's not sleep on McMillan here either.
Yeah, he's coming off a 36 burger. Pretty fucking good, man. That outscores Christian McCaffrey all but 2 weeks this year. You can get it done. So yeah, Teteroa, I think we're better off, focusing on pieces from the 49ers to smash tonight. But yeah, I mean, Ted is definitely a piece that we want in our lineup today. So if you start with McCaffrey, let's see what the salary situation becomes, because this really dictates a lot of how these go. So you start with McCaffrey, and already you're in the zone of, I need some salary relief. You got Coker and Jatavion. One of these guys, right? Put Coker in there. He's coming off of 4 targets? Just all right.
Sanders about the same for cheaper.
I think I could even go down to a Jatav here. And that gets us $7K left, right? Probably need a second pay down option in an approach like this. Yeah, you would.
And Jennings too cheap. $7K for Jennings feels just way too cheap.
He's got to be in that lineup. Yeah. He's got to be in there. So now we need a second pay down. So you got $7,200. So you need a second pay down option to make it work.
You could almost double turd it for the Panthers. Go Sanders, Coker, and then you could probably get Purdy in there. Or Kittle.
Yeah, that gets you to 8,800, which could go do we want to combo up that many pieces from the 49ers here? I kind of want to get Dowdle in there. And then, I don't know. No.
Man, yeah, I would say, yeah.
You know what? Here's what you're seeing. Or if we went with Tet McMillan instead, 8,200, still not. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of pieces. So basically,
that's an interesting one.
It's kind of like a everybody goes off kind of game without having either quarterback in it. It's kind of interesting. Without getting Dowdle in there. What I am seeing, though, like what this told me on this little experiment we just did, Bobbywow, is there is going to be some benefit to trying to actually, like, all right, let's compare this now to this. Watch. If I take Jennings, like a different piece from the favored team, wide receiver, or even George Kittle, it doesn't matter, and I switch that, now we can have some discussions about some more studliness in this line. So you need to go like super turds if you're going to play McCaffrey up there. That's the downside of the McCaffrey captain. There's just not that $200 player in here that opens it up and allows you to do it comfortably. So when you do those, you're going to need to like make an uncomfortable, cheapy pivot or 2 or 3. Like you probably have to play like Juszczyk or JC Horn or one of these kind of turds.
Yeah. So I basically, there's definitely merit in fading. And by that, I mean being underweight at captain when it comes to CMC, just because the salary is so restrictive.
Yep. I mean, it's clear. It's clear. It's hard to do it. Get a kicker in there, whatever. So the lineup definitely looks a lot better. So I think, guys, there's going to be a lot of benefit. I don't know. Binking, I'm not putting B-Rob at captain. Dude. I'm not doing it.
There's a lot of excitement about B-Rob.
What are you guys talking about?
I don't really understand it.
No. Double RB, I can maybe handle. That's a blowout, though. You got to, if you're putting B-Rob in there, you got to have 49ers defense in there, which, by the way, I like 49ers defense, and I didn't put them in here. You know what? Forgot about that. Let me make sure I emphasize that I like 49ers defense tonight, because that's how these games have been going down. So, and also, I love the idea of Young having looked good last week and people thinking it's going to happen again. And it flips right back to the turd boy that we've seen for 99% of the games that this guy has played in. Okay, let me remind everyone that before Bryce Young put up the 35 last week, he had 3 consecutive games against bad defenses of a 3, a 4, and a 10.
Yeah, he's not great.
He's not good.
He's not great.
Anybody?
Let's just real quick before we move on from double RB.
And by the way, the Panthers own the Falcons. It's like a thing.
It's true, but who doesn't these days?
Yeah.
The 49ers in a blowout last week, okay? They destroyed the Cardinals. And Brian Robinson had 8 touches for 24 yards in a blowout game. And that's in a blowout.
It's not,
I don't know.
Yeah, Brian Robinson
feel great.
Brian Robinson's a perfectly acceptable turd in a blowout scenario like what we have here. Perfectly acceptable. And he'll get a couple of carries, and it's like a backup running back. Are you generally excited about a backup running back? Generally, no. But like, okay, I'll play a little bit. Why not? I'll have a little fun. But like, no, generally, no. I'm not excited about that.
Especially a captain, not a captain.
Not a captain. Not a captain. So Send Here says people are thinking like what I'm thinking. So what if it turns into a shootout? I don't know if people, I don't think so. I think people always think what happened last week is going to simply happen again. I think that's the general. I think people are probably, I don't know what people think. What do I know? I never
know what people think. We see ownership.
Projected
ownership tells us what people think.
I didn't understand 2 weeks ago why people thought it was a good idea to play J.J. McCarthy as the chalkiest quarterback on a slate. Sometimes I don't get it. And I didn't get why people thought this week that Drake May, who's never passed 29 fantasy points in a game in his career, was like the chalk at the highest owned price. I didn't get that.
Thank you. Yep.
So I was like, guys, I don't really get it. I could be wrong. Field is seeing something that I'm not seeing.
But people think, based on ownership here, we get a pretty clear picture that people think Bryce Young stinks and the Panthers stink and the 49ers are going to smash. That's what projected ownership tells us people think. If
that's the case, then for our getting a little different, it should probably be, looking at elevating some of these or considering like a Dowdle captain situation. Oh, Dowdle. Let's not forget that Dowdle, by the way, had a string of some amazing performances in unexpected situations. One simply does not put up 31.1 fantasy points as a running back against the Packers, Bobbywow. One simply does not do that. So that happened. On the road. Is there a more unexpected performance this year in fantasy than Dowdle putting up 31 against the Packers on the road?
That probably tops the list.
Yeah, like I can't think of something that was more shocking. Like Jameis Winston yesterday tearing it up. That didn't shock me at all. That wasn't shocking. I was like, oh yeah, it's Jamo. That's what he does. That wasn't shocking. This was shocking. Stevens says San Francisco allows short completions. You know, who's that? Purdy and Dowdle? What if Dowdle gets all these checkdowns? I like Dowdle, man. I kind of like the idea of
I would rather play Tataroa, but I like Dowdle too. He's fine.
Yeah. The problem with Dowdle is he's like a little too close to Christian McCaffrey price. So yeah, your Dowdle lineup, maybe you kind of fade McCaffrey and just go some other way.
The 49ers defense is not good. I just want to emphasize that.
Yeah, they've been bad.
They're at home. I get it. You know, they're kind of like, they're seen as a good defense. I don't know if it's like the past years are kind of like influencing people's brains, or I don't know what it is. But
no, they've been good.
Statistically, they are not a good defense.
Yeah, they've been good in the past. Nick Bosa being out has absolutely, decimated this defense. All right. So, with that being said, I think that covers DraftKings for us. Let's jump over to FanDuel.
Let's do it.
So basically, final thought here on DraftKings is, McCaffrey, really, really great. But as you can see, when we try to put lineups together, it's very restrictive. So I do think there will be rewards this week for playing the non-most expensive captains and trying to make it work, trying to make it happen. I can even make a crazy argument for 49ers defense just from the island game perspective. That kicker, it's just a gross game. Both sides not doing shit.
Is Bryce Young again? Yeah.
Everybody already thinking about Thanksgiving. There's no way the Panthers are winning the South, dude. No way. They're going to lose and lose and lose their next few games.
But why no way?
It's not no way. They're about to be in first, and the Bucs just lost their quarterback, so there is something to that.
It's that simple. And then you got Atlanta, the lowly Falcons, and the Saints. It's certainly a way. Absolutely.
All right, let's jump over to FanDuel real quick, and let's do a little analysis of the MVP position. Bobbywow, before we even look, FanDuel rewards running backs, rewards quarterbacks well above the pass catchers, right? So on FanDuel, we want to focus more on quarterbacks and running backs. And a lot of times, the problem, you can't really hedge this because you could be right on FanDuel and you don't win shit anyway because of ties. So I wouldn't hedge it, but you want to be more heavy quarterback and running back here on FanDuel. Let's take a look at what the ownerships look like at MVP. All McCaffrey, plenty of Purdy, not enough Bryce Young.
Not enough Bryce Young. And this is exactly what we're talking about here. The people are expecting Bryce Young to stink, and he very well might. But on FanDuel in particular, you have to take some shots if you're playing tournaments of Bryce Young. That's absurdly low ownership. He's not even he's $1,500 cheaper than Purdy. He's not even expensive.
Kingston D just busting out with an expression I've never heard before, but I think I like it. 49ers are going belt to ass on the Panthers.
Oh boy.
That's a spanking. It's just another way of saying it, Bobby. It's taking you a second to compute it. I see processing in there.
No, I'm just trying to figure out why Bryce Young is so low in ownership. I get the stinkage factor.
Yeah.
But we've played much stinkier quarterbacks.
Yeah. So, all right, Bryce Young. But the guy that I think is a little under-owned here is going to be Rico. at 11, 12%. I think that's too low for this guy.
Agreed. I think both guys. Yep.
Yeah. Both the Panthers guys look a little too low. Purdy and McCaffrey, I get it. 50% of the field will be on one of those two. And that sounds about right. Yep. Yeah. Give Kittle a little eyebrow raise as a guy who has like dominated all of there have been games in which just Purdy just gets all the fantasy production. So I could see him kind of pop in there.
And even Tataroa, I think we saw him last week. He would have been the MVP on FanDuel this week.
Yeah. Tet can eat all of basically guys like this that can eat all of the targets, that can actually command a 30% plus target share. That does open up that possibility of a captain that surpasses, of a pass catcher that surpasses their quarterback. It's within reason. But I think McCaffrey, I mean, the ownerships are fairly correct to me. You want a lot of McCaffrey. You certainly want plenty of Purdy in case it's not a McCaffrey game. And then Rico Dowdle in case, if the Panthers are doing it, I think Dowdle is leading the way.
Yeah, we would have thought that last week, right?
I'm still surprised that Dowdle still did okay last week. He didn't have a bad game. It was just like everybody else getting it done.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some kind of like misconceptions we have to try to get past here as we play, DFS. And it kind of goes back to like the Drake May conversation, right? Drake May was super chalk and he's in the MVP conversation. But MVP conversation and good football play doesn't translate directly to fantasy football output. Similar thing with like, teams and good teams and bad teams and blowouts. Like the correlation between that and fantasy production isn't as close as you might think. So even if the Panthers stink and the 49ers blow them out, that doesn't mean the fantasy production won't be there for a guy like Bryce Young or Rico Dowdle. I think we got to try to get past that because oftentimes, like Jacoby Brissett's a perfect example, and I wrote this up in my notes for yesterday. Obviously, Jacoby Brissett compared with Drake May in NFL conversations is absurd. It's silly, right? Like Drake May looks like the MVP, but fantasy production differs so much from that at times. You almost have to look at them as two separate things. So that's the reminder I would give on a game like this.
Yeah. By the way, I totally agree. And that's a big, I think, misconception that people, I think it causes weird ownerships. I keep saying it. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing out there? Why are these things happening? Actually, in my core plays video last week, I was like, do you guys want me to also include these fades, which I talk about on my shows? But I'm like, because there's such obvious fades this week that I really want, I don't know what's more valuable to, even on the advice side, what could cause people listening, people watching to win more? Is it, hey, this chalk looks okay, or this is a sneaky piece that you can get on? Or is it, guys, this chalk is bad. Do not play this. Just do something else and find your path, but do it without Drake May. Do it without, this running back that's not in a good spot. Like, I don't know what helps. What do you think is more useful to the consumer of the information?
People want the low-owned stud, right? That's where eyes are looking. But to me, on a main slate, the value, man, is finding the right chalk to fade. That's where the true diamond is. So a little different on a showdown slate, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. UR Soul likes this game to kind of play to the over. San Francisco playing well, but the Panthers keeping up.
We're already at a 50-point total, I think, so that would be awesome.
Yeah. If this game played to the over, this is going to be a fantasy points bonanza. And I would actually even more think, and somebody brought up something else. I'd even more think that, you want to pay down. That's the version where that pay down captain will probably work out. Like Tetaroa gets a 30, right? McCaffrey gets a 38, but who cares? Because he was so much more expensive.
Yep.
Who's Young's check down option? It's Rico Dowdle, and now they've changed their guys, Stephen Nadeau. So it's actually Jalen Coker. So if he's checking down, it's going to go to Dowdle or Coker. That's where he's looking. Dowdle, and then Coker just came in and he plays that role out of the slot. Although last
Sanders as well. Jatavion Sanders, the other guy.
Yeah, but also they moved Ted McMillan to Tetaroa to the slot a little bit as well last week. They're moving him around, so you never know. It's probably Rico Dowdle. If you needed to know who the prime check down guy is. Yeah, and Jatavion, but the problem with Jatavian Sanders is he's just mixing in with, he's not on the field enough. He's mixing in with
he's a super punt, right?
Yeah.
He's certainly the better pass catcher between the two. So, but yeah, he's just a turd. That's all.
Let's do a quick scan of FanDuel to figure out where the value is here on the props. Yeah, it's still, even with the props, it likes who it likes. Dowdle, McCaffrey, Purdy, Dowdle, quarterbacks, Fitzgerald. And the first position player that pops up, George Kittle, Jennings. Nothing real sneaky here. So how do we afford things on FanDuel, Bobbywow? Where are we going? Give me where is the salary relief that meets, some potential upside?
Jatavion Sanders.
Sanders, 5K.
B-Rob is in play.
This, by the way, for Binking, who's been talking up B-Rob or whoever in the chat here keeps mentioning B-Rob, this is the site where you want to play B-Rob even more. If he falls in the end zone for a lucky tutty at 5,400, that will wind up being meaningful enough.
Yep. And Coker, right? Coker's the other guy. Value hard to come by on FanDuel here. Really hard to come by.
Got to just play kickers. I mean, the kickers are priced well.
Yeah, kickers are solid.
Even Jennings and Pearsall in this 9K range, little tricky. 10K for Kittle. There's Ted. You kind of want to get to Bryce Young here at this price point. Man, you just really want to pay up all four of these. Let's see how this feels when you put it in there. Again, if you start with McCaffrey, very obvious, you run out of money real quick. You can't really play studs with McCaffrey here. We're down to already.
Honestly, this on FanDuel is the type of game where Kyle Juszczyk could score you 2 points and be the optimal lineup because he's so much cheaper than any other turd. I think he's like $1,800.
Just throw the turd in there.
Because I mean, he's what? The other turd we talked about, Jatavion Sanders, right, was pretty much the lowest turd we wanted to think about.
And that's 5K.
And he's 5K. So you're talking about a $3,200 difference.
I guess I'll give you Tommy Tremble as another version of that.
He had what, one catch last week? Wait, click his thing quick.
He did get a touchdown. Oh no, he got one big play, no touchdown. Yeah,
one catch.
Yeah, he's not doing that again. That already happened. Can't chase that from last week.
DeMarcus Robinson, could be worth a couple shares as well, but $1,800, man. If Juicy gets you a 3 or 4 here, I think and McCaffrey does what he does. Juszczyk's probably in the optimal lineup. 3 to 4 is a stretch still for Juszczyk, but it's
something like that. I can't remember who it was, but on one of the recent showdowns, something like that actually did go down.
Yeah.
I cannot remember who it was, but I was like, why am I not winning this? And it was one of the turds we mentioned put up a 7 or a 6, and it outscored a different turd. I was like, why? How am I not winning? Oh, if you want to play all of these studs, Purdy, Dowdle, or Bryce Young, even with Juszczyk in there, with McCaffrey at captain, even with Juszczyk in there, yeah, you can make it. It can work. Got to throw a kicker in there and something like that. McCaffrey, super punt, kicker. I don't love it, but that's the way to go. Let me see what happens if we throw a less pricey player in there like Purdy. All right. Still want McCaffrey. Still want to try to get McDowell. Cannot include Bryce Young and make a respectable lineup. So you would have to not do that. 5K left.
I do think there's some merit to maybe keeping a little bit of separation between Bryce Young and Dowdle. The Purdy McCaffrey thing makes a ton of sense because McCaffrey is a wide receiver. He's going to catch a ton of passes. could catch touchdowns. Dowdle, not so much. Like he does catch some passes, but rarely do we see him get in the end zone on a reception.
If he's smashing, that's not the way he's smashing.
Yep.
So
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, that kind of sets us up. If you're going to play, you're on FanDuel, it feels like we're going to probably want to play one of these expensive guys, but you're going to have to operate in this zone of Coker and Jatavian Sanders and Tommy Tremble and these kind of, and use check as this turd zone to try to make it work. And then if you want to have some balls, you throw a Bryce Young up there. That's a much more reasonable starting price point, and it will open some stuff up that you can't really, or Dowdle up top, I think will be a little bit beneficial, but even more beneficial would be to sack up with like a Kittle kind of play up there and say, fuck it, maybe this will work out. If he has that smash game, you get Kittle up top and it can be made to work just like that. And that opens. So with Kittle in there, you could really do a little bit more of having real players across the board. And these kickers are going to be a big part of this. And I think 49er defense will be a reasonably big part of it as well, just for affordability purposes. If I was building a cash lineup, I'm definitely using kickers in that lineup. I don't really see that many other ways to build lineups today. So should be challenging. Yeah. There's like a Kittle version with Purdy in there. Wolf. And yeah. Bobbywow, reminder. First week using DFS Army tools, 6 pocket minis. That's how we do. You want to have access to the domination station, the cheat sheets, the notes, everything that we do. It is the Black Friday special, BF 2025, guys. Use it for the rest of the week. BF 2025 knocks 25% off NFL, VIP, even VIP with props. Or the smartest people are doing it for the full yearly, because that basically knocks the yearly price of DFS Army VIP almost in half compared to if you were subscribed monthly. And that is the way to go. But I can only share it. We got the promo going. We want you guys to get in there. Good luck tonight. Good luck this week, guys. We will see you all in the Discord with any new or interesting information. Take care and good luck, everybody.